as we continue to fight on in education, we realize that education in our neighborhoods, in our communities, all over this country are oftentimes underserved, underfunded, and oftentimes digging to discover their own education rather than being taught by qualified teachers. And so, to fight back, we want to bring none other than Dr. Sonia Whitaker to speak to us regarding education.
Good morning, beautiful people. And how are the children? Our greatest hope is that we're always able to respond that all the children are well. The brief message that I have for you today is that given the times for which we are living, each and every last one of those people that are under the sound of my voice have been called to lead during such a time as this. Now, one of the things that I love that Vice President Kamala Harris said during her debate many, many years ago that changed me, she said, "You don't need permission to lead, just lead." Now, you're probably thinking, well, Doc, that's cool. I don't consider myself to be a leader. I would highly suggest that we come to grips with the fact that we don't have a choice but to lead. I challenge you on this day to consider your gifts and your talents and the extent to which you can practice what I refer to as the policy of intentionality as it relates to giving of those talents in the manner in which we have to do. I'm reminded of one of my favorite authors, Jim Collins, in his book entitled From Good to Great. And he suggests to us that before any organization, before any group of people can take the work that they are attempting to do to the next level, they have to face what he refers to as the brutal facts of reality. Now, we, of course, did not convene today for the purpose of admiring problems, but we have to be clear about what the brutal facts of reality are so that we can move the organization and move our efforts to the next level. We got to be clear about what we're up against. So I am here briefly to suggest that you have been called to lead during a time in which Black children are sent direct messages that would suggest that people that look like them made little to no contributions to society, and therefore their history should be stripped from the curriculum materials and the books made available in the libraries that we fund. You are called to lead during a time when there's a national teacher crisis, but as I described last week, the national teacher crisis doesn't impact all children. The national teacher crisis is impacting school districts that serve majority Black and brown students. You are called to lead during a time in which some of our children still don't feel safe when they report to schools every single day. If you think about just the 3 points that I made, it is also important to recognize that when some of our students actually make it to school, school's been in session 2 weeks and some of the kids are already being suspended. You know what I said to a group of teachers yesterday? You can't discipline trauma. You cannot discipline trauma. And so we've been called to lead during a time in which students' trauma, they bring to school every single day. They bring cultural baggage every single day. We are called to lead during the times in which I have just described. And as I said moments ago, we didn't convene for the purpose of admiring problems. Many of you are very much well aware of the fact that right now there is an American explorer stuck in a cave in Turkey. He has fallen ill. And one of the things that I found so amazing when I saw the camera, technology is amazing, you all. They got a camera down there and he's able to talk to us. I'm not sure if you paid attention, but what really struck me is even in his illness, all he kept talking about was how the people was coming for him. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of explorers coming for him. You know what they said on the other side of that cave? Is he's one of ours. He's one of our own. And so I stopped by to suggest that we do the most as it relates to Black children and brown children. What do we need to do? My kid said to me yesterday, "Mama, you be doing the most. You be doing too much." I'm suggesting that we use our gifts, our skills, our talents. our intellectual capabilities, our financial, our intellectual, and our human resources for the purpose of doing the most on behalf of Black and brown children. And I would conclude by suggesting that this work is not for the faint at heart. It's not for the faint at heart. I was on a plane the other day, and the airline stewardess said, in the event of an unlikely emergency, and I'm thinking, what is she talking about? That the plane goes down, the first thing that you are to do is to take that oxygen mask and put it on yourself. Now, I don't know about you, but I have children. And my first thought was, if they were on this plane, that I would be wanting to cover them first. And then I was reminded as a leader, seeing as we have all been called to lead during such a time as this, I have a fundamental obligation to recognize that what I've been called to do is not for the faint at heart, and therefore I have to take care of myself so that I can take care of my people. And so I'm here to suggest, again, that you give of your skills and your talents, that you recognize that this work is not for the faint at heart, so you got to take care of yourself. And in closing, as Margaret Mead would suggest, never doubt that a small group of committed people can change the world. In fact, it is indeed the only thing that ever has. Thank you so much for giving me of your gift of time. I would like to turn it back over to Pastor Chauncey.